Disney has a problem with the Acolyte, but it's not what you think. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about the good, the bad, and the Wookiees of Star Wars. Today we're going to be looking at The Acolyte, straight from the mind of creator Leslie Headland and the powers that be at Lucasfilm. The Acolyte is nearing the end of its first season. Granted, a season 2 is not confirmed, but based on the storylines that the show is set up, I believe the intention is for this show to have multiple seasons. At least 2. And let's just say that it has been an absolutely wild ride for the fan base. Whether you love the show with all of your heart, hate it with the fiery passion, or couldn't care less about the show's existence, I'm sure you can agree that this has arguably been the most divisive piece of Star Wars content ever. The Last Jedi might have something to say about that, but I digress. So what has made this seemingly promising project such a huge talking point in the franchise? Well, I'm not here to dive into details about some of the things that have been discussed many times in various articles and videos. Every Star Wars fan is different. People are going to like different things. And I've been a Star Wars fan for almost 30 years, and I can say that I haven't loved every piece of content that has been produced. I have my favorites, and there's a few things that I may not find as interesting, but that's okay. And that's what being a fan is about. Expressing your opinion is important. I'll have my own review of the show once it is actually finished airing, because that's the fair thing to do. All I'm going to say is it's far from perfect, but there is some good stuff in there. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it, but the overriding feeling I have is one of missed potential. There's one specific issue that I personally have with the show, and that's this overwhelming feeling that this is the wrong story to try and tell in 8 episodes. There is so much potential for a good story here, but with the limited amount of actual screen time, there's barely any room to explore this time period and its characters in a meaningful way. I mean, these episodes are borderline 30 minutes, and this is meant in no way to discredit the actors and actresses of the show, some of whom have been excellent, Manny Jacinto, but I almost wish they had chosen to make this series animated instead of live action. I mean, think about it. This is their first time bringing the High Republic time period to life outside of books and comics, and maybe 16 episodes of an animated series telling the stories and its characters would have been better. I mean, you have this very, I will say, complicated story arc involving situation that happened on Brendock 16 years ago, and the fallout from that, and these different characters dealing with their own trauma from that one incident. We've had 7 episodes air of this show so far. 2 of them have been flashbacks to kind of fill us in on the different points of view of what happened that particular instance. But this is a story that, again, it has a lot of potential, but needs a lot of room to breathe. And when it's condensed, and when characters are making decisions to move the plot because they have to get from point A to point B within these limited number of episodes, it comes across as an unfinished project. I mean, think about a season of The Bad Batch or Clone Wars. Imagine if, we had gotten this story in that format, and we could get a better look at the politics of this time, a more fleshed out backstory for some of the Jedi featured here, and just this weird pacing that seems prevalent throughout the season that we've seen so far. And I'm not saying this would fix all the problems for those that adamantly do not like the show, but it might have given it a better chance to be accepted. Lucasfilm has a pretty good track record with their animation. Live action, Disney Star Wars has produced some rather mixed results amongst the fans. It's safe to say the average viewer might be a little more wary going into a live action project based on some of the reception that we've had for some of these. And with this massive budget that the Acolyte was given for episodes that barely crack the 30-minute mark, an animated series probably would have been a better alternative and a safer bet. If you really have a story that's worth telling, you should never allow yourself to be restrained by the medium in which you tell the story. And these Disney Plus live action shows just continue to suffer in one way or another from this problem. It's not the first time that we've seen a show be kind of limited by the run times of these episodes. But overall, I think, I'm always appreciative of new Star Wars. I just hate to see a story squandered by the limitations of these live-action Disney Plus shows. I mean, imagine a novel based on the events of the Acolyte. Imagine a format in which you can go into so much more depth and detail about all of the things that are happening at this particular moment in the Star Wars timeline. But what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more Star Wars commentary in the future. Now let's blow up that like button and go home.